Talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Right, they won game one, and then the Padres, spanked their backsides for the next three.
And Chris Ello.
Would you let me tell the story?
Sorry, yes.
Mr. Interrupter?
Yes, I will.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
What's up, San Diego? Welcome into Gwynn and Chris, minus the Chris. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby in short show today. Thursday Night Football follows. We're on with two guys until 4:30, I believe.
Correct.
Patriots, Jets to follow. But we'll start with the Padres. Plus, we have a fantastic guest coming on at some point, probably in the next segment. Stephen Strasburg, Aztec for Life, joins us in the next segment. But we must start with the Padres. Padres coming off of a terrific 2-of-3 series victory against the Houston Astros. It was playoff baseball in September, basically.
That's what all the Astros kept saying the entire time they were in town.
I mean, first of all, San Diego, you guys brought it. It was a sold-out capacity each of the 3 days. Padres got victories on Monday and Wednesday. Sorry, I'm forgetting what day it is. And they did it. First night, it was really no drama. Second night, lot of drama. And then yesterday, good drama for the Padres. I thought Manny Machado is really, I think he's really showing why he's the guy on this team right now. He's really started to pick it up and carry this offense. And when I say carry, I don't literally mean carry because there's a bunch of guys doing good work right now on that offense. But as I've said from the very beginning of the season, when Manny goes, so does this Padre baseball team. And right now, there aren't very many better. We had a back-to-back home run situation. Toddy, Machado, Donnie Barrels capped it off with his homer. And a lot to like. Dylan Cease really was lined up to have another complete game. Got away. Didn't really get away from him. Got away from the defense a little bit. Bogey kicked that ball into the outfield. Or he didn't kick it. He just booted it into the outfield. Kind of took away his chance to have that complete game. But nonetheless, once again, fantastic time through on the starting rotation. Dylan Cease starts this next time through yesterday's game. Another brilliant performance. And I think, Skraby, the thing that is pretty apparent when the Padres get good starting pitching, games are a lot easier for them. That doesn't mean they won't win the other ones, but they win a lot easier when they get good starting pitching.
I mean, they just held the Astros to very few runs, and the Astros have one of the best lineups in the entire Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Like, what they did this week was not like something that was lucky. They proved that they could go toe-to-toe with a team like the Astros. And I keep seeing now all of the talking heads saying that this is the World Series preview, Astros and Padres.
So, let's talk about that because, I saw what Manny said, and I didn't necessarily take it as prediction as everybody else did.
We should let everybody know what he said.
Let's let him play. Let's play 4.
Oh, I don't have it.
Oh,
I
thought
you
set it up like you were about to have
Oh,
some
no,
sound.
okay, yes. No, he said that they're going to see each other again this season. And they were like...
you should find the sound so we can play it exactly how he said it because I don't think he meant it like, we're definitely going to be there again, but it was just more of highlighting the fact that team is a playoff caliber team. And the Padres, this isn't the first team they've been able to do that against either, by the way. I mean, they've played some good teams really throughout this second half at different points and have seemingly come out on top or at least split in almost all of those cases. So Padres get the victory yesterday. They have the off day today. They'll resume tomorrow against the Chicago White Sox. And I know I've seen it on Twitter. There are a bunch of people paranoid that the Padres are going to take a break as the White Sox come to town with the worst record in baseball. Now, they've won a couple games here as of late, so at least history won't be happening on our watch. You know, they can't lose 120 by the time they get to San Diego, or San Diego, even with a sweep, can't get them there. But it's certainly something that I think is on the tops of people's minds. I think they start thinking Colorado Rockies when all of a sudden the White Sox show up to town, Scrape.
Yeah, I'm kind of with everyone.
Oh,
in that
you're one
group.
of those people.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it because it seems like this team's way different, as I've been saying the last couple of weeks, but it seems like the inferior teams give them a hard time. But I don't believe that's going to be the case this time. I mean, they're too locked into
I don't actually think
winning.
that's the case anyway. I think that is your emotions kind of.
Oh, it's definitely my emotions, but what happens? The Rockies came to town early in the year, swept the Padres, and then they went to Colorado, and then Wandy Peralta gave up a bunch of runs. It seems to happen against these teams.
Okay, I'll say this. In 152 games now, 153 games now, has the Padres not showed you that they can take care of business when they're supposed to?
Yes.
Except against the Rockies.
Yes,
they pretty much swept the Pirates. They took the
Did they sweep the Dodgers earlier this year here?
I think they did. It was a 2-game series. I think
Two-game
they swept
series,
that.
okay.
They swept Miami. I mean, they beat up on,
A's.
with the exception of the Rockies, they beat up on all the bad teams. They went to Tampa, did the same thing, and I don't even know if Tampa qualifies as
this
a bad
year,
team.
yes.
Well,
I would agree.
We're not talking about last year.
I have
though.
baggage, Tony. We've talked about this. I got baggage from previous years. Come on. I mean,
Clearly.
I was doing post game on the 2021 year where they lost a bunch of games down the
That
stretch.
is 3 years ago, bro.
I know. I need to get over
You
it.
got to move on. You got to move
Manny
on.
didn't actually. There's no audio of it. That's why I kind of panicked there for a second. But
There's
it
no
was
audio? I thought I
Kevin
saw it this
Acey
morning.
put it in print, so I'm
Oh,
trying
okay, go
to
ahead.
find the
Oh, okay.
exact quote.
Nonetheless, oh wait, here we go. I think you have it right here.
I don't think I do.
He said we're going to see them again.
Oh.
They're a really good ball club, and how we played the last few days, I mean, it's a little taste of it. I don't know that that's a prediction, like we're going to the World Series. It's almost like, yeah, I mean, we could see them again.
Yeah, I don't think it was him proclaiming from the rooftops that the Padres are going to be in the World Series.
Yeah.
But I don't mind this Manny Machado.
I don't either.
When he said Manny, I'm Manny bleeping Machado, people gave him crap for it, but then he ended up turning it around. Same with this year. I am full on Manny Machado mode.
Well, I'm glad you decided to look at the back of his baseball card and realize.
I was never panicked.
I'm just saying. It seems like you kind of were. Fernando Tatis Jr. Has returned. He hit his 5th homer in yesterday's game. Now, we're talking magic numbers. Now, the Padres' magic number, I believe, to get the home field advantage via wild card is 8. They win those. They get to 8. That means they will host, and they can get there with, losses from the Diamondbacks. Wins from them, you get 2. You gain 2 on that. So this could happen quick. It could drag out to the very end. That last series of the year certainly could hold even more weight, because what's also at stake in that series is there is no definitive tiebreaker on this one. They haven't played. That series will decide the tiebreaker for the 2. That's also, remember, that's a change from a couple years ago. There's no more game 163. You got to finish it when the schedule ends.
I heard you and Don talking about that yesterday, about how crazy it was that there was a 1-game playoff for some teams. After a full season of 162, you get one shot.
It's funny, now that we've been in this kind of format the last 3 years, will be the 3rd year, it's really hard to imagine how we ever got to a point where we had a 1-game playoff. Like, play all those games, and then one game could send you packing. That's rough.
That is rough.
That's rough, man. But nonetheless, Padres magic number 8. Looks like the Mets and D-backs are 12, and the Braves are 15. So there's not that many games.
The Mets are really annoying
There's
me.
no magic number for those guys, I guess.
The Mets are really annoying me. I just
Why?
Because they're just like pesky. Like they were done earlier in the year, and then they went on a run.
People said they were done.
I said they were done.
Well,
People went on a run, and now they're looking at a wild card spot, and they're not going away. Same with the Braves.
2 games, I believe, or 3 games ahead of the Braves. 2 or 3 games ahead of the Braves.
Braves are playing right now, so it may have changed a little bit. The Reds were officially eliminated, Tony, if you needed to know that.
Yeah, I didn't because I assumed that much. They're a game and a half back right now from the Mets. So that one will continue to develop here over the next few days. As I said, the Padres off today. We got Thursday night football, Jets, New England. I don't know how I feel about this game. New England, are they any good?
They won. They're
They're
1-1, and
1-1.
they took Seattle to overtime.
Jets are 1-1.
Jets are 1-1. They beat Will Levis. That's not really hard to do because he helps you win.
Mayonnaise man throwing the ball around everywhere.
Mayonnaise man. I cannot believe that guy drinks his coffee with mayonnaise. And that's not a joke.
Disgusting.
That's not a joke.
It's really disgusting. So you got that. More baseball. But up next, we're going to get to break. Stephen Strasburg, he'll join us to talk a little bit about what he's got going up on the Mesa. We'll talk a little bit of what's happening in Major League Baseball. We'll check in with him and see what's going on with him and his fam. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. What's up, everybody? 2:17 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, and now Stephen Strasburg joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Stephen and I go back a little bit of ways. He played for my pops at San Diego State, as you guys know. You know what? You were supposed to play the call when you came in, when we came in right there, Scrape.
You know what? I was supposed to play the call. I got a lot going on right now.
I know.
We're
I know
talking
you do.
baseball in
I
the
know you
break. I'm
do.
like, this is really fun.
We play this call often when Chris is in the building. He's not in the building, but I feel like he would want us to play it for at least one time. So we'll go ahead.
Strasburg ready to go.
That's all we have.
That's all we have. I told you that beforehand. We play this all the time because that was when you had the no-hitter and Chris was on the call. I'm going to go find the full call, but it's something that Chris loves to remember.
It's like
he
one
talks
of his,
about all the
it's
time.
one of his best memories. So welcome to the show, Stephen. How you been, man?
Been good. Yeah, I just moved back here end of May, so kids are getting settled into school, and yeah, it's just great being closer to family. And I think my heart's always been here in this city.
I mean, obviously, being that you just moved back, I'm sure you've caught some of the wind of what's going down at Petco Park. I mean, you're still, relatively close removed from this game, but I'm sure you've been able to catch a little bit of it. What's been your thoughts watching the Padres do their thing?
Yeah, I mean, the energy that's surrounding this town reminds me a lot of 2019. One of the amazing things about everything that I was going through at the end of my career is that it made me realize how impactful that run was to the community. And to kind of see, the excitement, see the sellout crowds on TV. My nieces and nephews are all like, hey, let's turn on the Padres game. It's pretty special. And, I think they're right in the thick of it here. And, we were talking earlier. I mean, October's already started for them.
Yeah,
And, I'm kind of excited to plug in and watch from afar.
I think, to your point, you go back to 2019 and you guys go on that run. If those who may not remember, that year you guys got off to a pretty slow start. And it came on late. Just talk a little bit about once it changed over for your guys' team, the energy that begins to build. Just talk a little bit about that and I'm bringing that up because we're watching a Padre team that seemingly kind of has whatever it is, that it factor. They have it right now.
Yeah. No, I think, there was other years, 2012, was it 2014, like where we won the division and we had that bye, and like that was really hard to really like comprehend because you weren't, we won it and we had regular season to play, and then we had a bye. And now with this structure, it's kind of like you have to be playing your best baseball right to the finish. Right. And, when we got the wild card game in 2019, that rebound really started months earlier. And it came to the point where we had just great veterans on the team who really brought everybody together. And we just pulled for each other. We were having fun. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to get in, if we were going to keep going. It was just one pitch at a time, and that was the goal. It was just, are we going to win pitches? Are we going to play the game the right way? And really looking at that as a way to springboard. And then, go figure, it takes one bad hop with Grisham,
right,
and then it was like the rest is history. So
I mean, you talk about one pitch, at a time. I mean, that's we pretty much hear that from Mike Schilt on a daily basis. I think people get frustrated with it, but it's really how you have to look at things when you get to this time of year. We'll get to some more baseball stuff, Major League Baseball stuff. You're going to be with us for a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about what has your attention now. I mean, both of us are proud Aztecs, and the college structure in itself is beginning to change a little bit. And just kind of talk a little bit about what you've got going on, what you're passionate about right now, because I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think all this time, being on the East Coast and being focused on my own career, I took a lot of pride. I think one of the most often asked questions that I got as a professional from fellow teammates was, what was it like playing for Tony Gwynn? And I think that impact was really on a national stage. And then you kind of see, the basketball program doing really well. And, I played with a lot of guys from SEC schools who showed that kind of pride. And I think for me, my parents being alumni, coming from here, getting a chance to play for my favorite player all time, there's a desire in my heart to really, help the baseball program in whatever way I can. And, it's going to be a multifaceted approach. And I think the NIL era has a lot of influence, and we'll see how it all shakes up. But right now, it's just trying to re-engage with the alumni, get them back together, and seeing where we can take this thing. I'm a firm believer that all the pieces are in place for the San Diego State baseball to be a national contender year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I think we've all at least thought at some point while we were there and since we've been gone, because there's no doubt the talent is here. Now, Sean Cole is the head coach at San Diego State. We had him on last week to talk a little bit about the decision for the Aztecs to move to the Pac-12, which will start here, 2026, I believe it is?
Yeah, 26.
2026. Have you had conversations with Coach Cole?
Yeah, I've had a lot of lengthy conversations with Sean, and I think his heart's in the right place. And, I really believe that, he really wants to see this program get to the next level. And that's all you can really ask for is somebody who's committed to the program and that who wants to be there. Like, this is their dream job. I know it was Tony's dream job, and I think that's what the program deserves. As far as my involvement, I kind of just told him, I said, hey, like, I'm moving back. I got, 3 girls and I'm busy with that. But if you need me to come down and work with some guys, I'll be there. And really for me, it's just about creating this infrastructure, this network, and getting these guys back connected. That's one thing that, one thing I looked forward to for years was that, season was over whenever it was, and I'd come back and I'd be there for the Aztec baseball golf tournament. And I get a chance to see a bunch of guys. And then, a couple years ago, I started to hear that I was like, oh, they're not doing it anymore. And so that's why I kind of decided to like springboard it myself. And, we're starting one on November 15th out at Steel Canyon, and really just trying to get the community back involved and get them a chance to know the current program and support that program.
November 15th, you guys heard it there. I will certainly be there. This is for Aztecs out there. This is important. And I think the thing that you and I have spoke about on a couple of different occasions, we spoke about it a little bit earlier before we came on. This isn't, you're looking for small dollar donors in this. It's not a pull out your checkbook and give us everything that you got. This is kind of how some of these NIL programs are built, is off of these small dollar kind of donations, correct?
Yeah. I mean, San Diego State, there's 500,000 living alumni. And I would like to think, growing up here in San Diego, I obviously know how impactful your dad's legacy is. And super special for me to be able to give back and hopefully get Tony Gwynn Stadium in a place that really honors his legacy. And that's the ultimate goal for me right now, is to, have something there to give back to the current players and set them up for success in the long term.
We'll do our best to get the information out, moving forward, but certainly something I think both of us find important, and we'll keep pushing to try to keep the word going. Now, let's talk a little bit about your experience at San Diego State, because clearly it's pretty important to you. I think it's part of the reason why you decided to make this move. Talk a little bit about your time at San Diego State and why it was so impactful and important to you.
Yeah, I mean, there was a major transformation that happened when I was there. Growing up as a kid, my dad would always take me to San Diego State baseball games. I mean, I remember, when Dietz was coaching there, I remember watching you, Royce Ring, Aaron Harang, all these guys that you just kind of like idolize as a kid. And to have that opportunity, number one, to wear the red and black, and number two, to play for your dad, who was my favorite player, and my freshman year was the year he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. It's really near and dear to my heart. And I think the San Diego community as a whole, they're very much attached to Tony Gwynn. He's kind of synonymous with San Diego. And, I think just coming back here, it just shows that, baseball, like, this is a baseball town now.
Yeah. It
and
is.
I was on the East Coast, Chargers left, and I play fantasy football now, and it's like, I'm not really like a Chargers fan, even though I like the Harbaugh hire.
Right.
But this is a baseball town, and I'd like to think that San Diego State baseball is, almost like the little brother of the Padres, and especially with that connection to Tony.
Talk about your transformation, because I don't think a lot of people know this. I mean, I think a lot of people came onto the scene when you were, sophomore, junior, and you were making all the noise, but
Yeah.
it wasn't easy for you when you got to San Diego State.
No, and I mean it just goes down to the culture that your dad created. I was coming in as a freshman. I was like 30 pounds overweight. I mean, I wasn't a terrible high school player. My numbers weren't very good, but I went from 88 to 90. I feel like I could command the baseball, command the breaking ball, and just literally got punched in the face week one. Never worked out before.
That
nothing.
condition is no joke.
And it was the easy route would have been like, this just isn't for me. But one of the guys that was really influential when I was there was Bruce Billings. He was a senior at the time, and I distinctly remember this moment where I'm throwing up in the ice plane, I'm not getting through the running, and these upperclassmen are they come over and they're carrying me. They're carrying, making sure I finish the lap, and that was really eye-opening to me, because that's like the true sense of team.
Yeah.
Is that you're only as strong as your weakest link, and I didn't want to be that weak link. I wanted to prove to them that I was there for them and I had their back, and that's where it really motivated me to just put in all the extra work. And those are things that you can control. Like, I can't control that. That led to me throwing much harder, and that but at the same time, it's like you have to look back on every single moment in your playing career and just ask yourself, did I do everything that I possibly could?
Right.
And if you honestly say you did, then you can live with the outcome.
That is such an interesting thing, because even the part after you decided I didn't want to be the weak link, it still was some time in between that time and the guy you became the following year, correct?
Yeah, I mean, they, Rusty Filter was there, and it started out. I remember we went up to like Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for a 3-game series. I didn't have a role, and we kind of got knocked around up there. And then Bruce Billings was the closer at the time, and then they basically made the choice like he needs to come back in the rotation. And Rusty told me, he's like, "Hey, I think you're gonna be our closer, and I don't care. Like, we're not pulling the job from you. You go out there and give it everything you have." And it really just helped me slowly. Not at the time I didn't understand it,
Right.
but there's things out there that you can control as a pitcher. How you go about your business out there. Your mound presence. That was a big thing that they were working on me with. It wasn't just results based.
Right.
Like, the results were going to be what they were going to be. And one of the things that I really, they harped on me was just keeping the team in the ball game, not trying to be perfect. They didn't expect me to go out there and strike out the side every time. It was just doing the little things, attacking the strike zone, all the things that you can do on a daily basis, and then you can just live with the results. Sometimes they'll be good, sometimes they won't, but that's baseball. And that's I guess a thing that really I leaned on in 2019 as well. It kind of really stuck with me all those years.
Stephen Strasburg with us for at least another segment. We're going to get into more baseball. A lot of new questions about baseball that I haven't got a chance to talk to you about, that I want to kind of get your perspective on. We'll talk more Padres. A lot more to come here on Gwynn and Chris.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
Yes, indeed. That was the no-hitter thrown by Stephen Strasburg. What year was that?
9. That was my last start at Tony Gwynn Stadium.
2009. You know what I remember about that year was I got traded from Milwaukee to San Diego that year, and I remember like the first. It would have been in May, which I think would have been postseason for you guys. I think you guys played Virginia.
Yeah.
I think you started the day I got my first start as a Padre on the road in Colorado. Buddy had it up on the screen, and it was going well when I walked out, and then we came back.
I'll never forget. I didn't give up, not to toot my own horn too much, I didn't give up very many home runs in college, but one of them, my last one, was to Phil Gosselin in that Virginia game, and he hit the scoreboard on it. And I always tell myself, I was like, oh, that guy made the big leagues. Like, he must have been pretty good. So,
Make yourself feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah.
Stephen Strasburg joins us here, just talking a little bit about San Diego State and some of the things he has going, and, of course, the Padres and everything they have going right now in the midst of, I think, one of their best seasons. It may not end up that way in terms of how many wins the Padres end up getting this year. I think the record is 98 or 99. The 98 team, I think, has the most wins in franchise history. Obviously, they can't get there. I mean, they could if they went out. But I still think this is going to go down as one of the better seasons from start to finish. Stephen, you grew up here in San Diego. You obviously spent your entire career with the Nationals. Are you torn at all watching these games? I mean, I know there's a closet Padre fan in there, as there was for me, because you're no longer playing though.
Yeah, yeah. I think when it gets to this time of year, you just start to follow the teams that are kind of like I can imagine that they're going through what we went through.
Yeah.
And you pull for them. I mean, I'm always. I mean, I was an underdog. I pull for the underdog. So I think watching this, it just really brings back those really vivid memories, and how it's almost like you remember the feeling, but you don't remember any specific thing that happened. And that kind of like gets the juices flowing for me just watching these games here. And they have a good test coming up, and but I mean that's playoff baseball. It starts now, and it's all about doing like the little things. I think from my experience, it was teams change, like the top teams, the ones who really go far. I look back on the the Giants when they were making those runs, and as a pitcher facing them, I want to say it was like 2014. You're facing a really good lineup, and it's like, but these guys, they do the little things. They are going to grind on you every single pitch.
Talk about that a little bit. I bring it up often when I'm doing the radio, or I get a chance to do the TV games. When a lineup is consistently going 7, 8, 9 pitches, not just one guy, but 4 or 5 guys in the lineup that do it, what kind of stress does that put on you as a pitcher?
Well, I just think it's like every mistake is like compounded. As a pitcher, you're always going to leave pitches over the plate. It compounds in the sense that, like, when you're facing hitters that keep the game simple and they're just trying to keep the line moving, that's a single up the middle. That's a single up the middle. That's not a, trying to hit one in the gap and flying out. You know? So it's really like every inning becomes the ninth. I think you see that where you can go as a starting pitcher and you can get away with pitches, but then it almost seems like the good teams and the good hitters in the ninth, they hit like another gear. And that's the best way I can describe it, is that, it's the ninth inning from the first inning on.
I always describe playoff baseball as pitchers, everybody's more focused. And so if let's say you're getting a ball and a half of pitches in the middle of a plate during a regular season, that goes down to 1. Mm-hmm. And hitters are spitting on pitches that maybe in the regular season they might offer at. Did you notice the same thing in your experience?
100%. I mean, it's so fine-tuned to where it's like you can sit out there and try and be perfect, and I think that's the natural tendency, and that gets you completely out of like the frame of mind that got you there in the first place. And it's like, that's the thing. It's like these good teams, it's like they know their identity. They pull for each other.
Right.
And it's like when it comes crunch time, like you're doing the little things correctly, and it's just really simplifying the game as best as you can, and not necessarily feeling like there's any added pressure on each pitch. It's just, hey, as I'm going out there and I'm executing this pitch, I'm going to execute this, and I know, if I can do that 70 out of 95, 100 pitches, I'm going to be okay. And if the scoreboard looks bad, then I can live with that.
One more. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I have a lot of questions about especially that year. Did you hear the noise prior to that last start, or going into that series against the Astros? The noise around Stephen Strasburg has been, he's not willing to step into the fold here when it really counts. Did you hear that, and how did you channel that after, if you did at all?
Yeah, I think that was kind of something that carried me like through my whole career, and I was like, it's there. I think it also goes back to just kind of them making the really tough decision when I blew out my elbow to say, hey, like, you're not going to pitch in the playoffs. I was young. I was just kind of like, I don't know what's going on, but it's like now every opportunity that you're there from a personal perspective, it's like it gets magnified. And, I would say that was kind of like a turning point in my career. I feel like that there was, some injuries. I was riding the high and the low, and then I finally got to this point where it's like I made it to the end. That was the biggest thing is like, can I be upright in September?
Right.
And, I was able to do that, and I just really loved the teammates that I had there. Gerardo Parra, Anibal Sanchez, we had a young Juan Soto who was great there. Throwing to Yan Gomes, Kurt Suzuki, those guys just like you play for them, right? And I just wanted to go out there and leave it all out there on the table. And if it didn't work, it didn't work. But man, those guys, like, there were so many points in that playoff run where I got bailed out, and they can sit there and say, "Oh, World Series MVP." And I was like, "Well, my teammates
they
helped
helped
me
you.
get
They picked
there.
you up.
I would never have happened if it wasn't for all these. I mean, Howie Kendrick. It's like you look back on all the big hits that he had. It wouldn't have happened otherwise.
You brought up one of my favorite guys to watch in Juan Soto. Was it pretty apparent the moment he got called up that he was going to be this good?
Yeah, I think because he made a jump. Like he
went
was
from Double A, right?
I think it was High A.
High A. I think you're right.
Because he was tearing it up down there, and a lot of times when you get a guy called up, it's like the game's like sped up. Like guys' breaking pitches are sharper. Like they're hitting their spots better, and there's an adjustment period. And the thing that I noticed early on with Juan was just his plate discipline was off the charts. And that's one thing that you see from the young guys. It's like, all right, they might be guessing, they might be trying to keyhole you in certain counts, but Juan's just seeing the baseball and reacting.
Yeah.
So and that's very, very special skill.
He's very special from that standpoint. Here's one that just kind of popped up. I mean, Paul Skeens kind of reminds me a little bit of what you went through. If you haven't spoke to him, if you had a chance to speak to him, what kind of advice would you have for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because I was kind of at the early stage of like the next, let's hype up every prospect, right? And
yes, you were.
Yeah, and I just looking from afar, it's like you don't, I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. I was young, and I was like, I felt really uncomfortable being in the clubhouse and being around these guys that I idolized, these veterans. I mean, I'm throwing to Pudge Rodriguez as a rookie. And it was just weird to me. It didn't really sit
well. The attention was on you, and you had these vets that had been in there for a while.
And it's just, it's easy to be, labeled the savior of the franchise. And, that's a lot of weight that you have to put on, that you could put on yourself. But I would say just like, you just have to enjoy it. Like there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and it's all about just finding those ways to get better every single day. Like, this is just a long career. You know, his next start, it's not just that start. Like, there's many more starts down the road, and just really look at it from the perspective, like, you know, this is going to be a long career, and I just want to know at the end of the day that I, you know, turned over every stone and I gave it everything I possibly could.
Now, Stephen, you were built up old-fashioned, right? You talked a little bit about getting in the weight room, kind of changing your whole body structure, really. How much analytics did you actually get to participate in, if you will, and how much did you like it or didn't like it?
Yeah, I think that the analytics part, especially from pitching, you know, one of the things that, you know, I had a pitching coach, Steve McCaddy, early on in my career, and he would always talk about paralysis by analysis. And I think with that, when you get young guys, I think it's very easy to have the analytics part change who you are as a pitcher and what makes you successful. You know, I would use more so just like the data on from a scouting perspective.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing is that, like, you know, when you're in college and you only give up like a couple home runs in a 3-year career, and then you get, you know, clipped a few times, you're like, oh man, like this doesn't feel right. And so the immediate thing is to like start to tinker and start to change, and then you start to, oh, I need to throw 60 pitches in the bullpen in between, and then I got it figured out. And, you know, when you have a long career, you start to realize that you're going to give up home runs. And then, you know, when you know you're going to give up home runs, it's how can you, you know, pick out where your outs are in the lineup? How can you stay away from slug? And, you know, that's really the thing that really helped me, was just trying to stay away from slug, you know, and it's like really using my pitches and my sequences to keep the ball in the yard. And
give it off the sweet part of the bat.
Yeah, and you know, but at the same time, when you got 2 strikes, like, know how to punch a guy out. You know, don't wait around, don't, you know, mess around. It's like, boom, put him away.
You know, you came up pretty quickly after you got drafted, and you did have a lot of the eyeballs on you. And listen, having been in clubhouses, I know that could rub people the wrong way to no bad doing on your own. Who were like your mentors when you came up? Like, who were the guys that kind of put their arm around you?
Yeah, well, I would say, you know, obviously, Ryan Zimmerman, Zim was great, and he's always more like the quiet type, and then,
Yeah.
you know, but he was always there to include you with a lot of the stuff, like, you know, away from the field, a lot of the team building things. I would say like the one guy who, like, we kind of like our personalities, like, he's got a very dry sense of humor. But as I've gotten older, I've learned to like accept it and like enjoy it. But Jordan Zimmerman,
I can definitely see
he
that.
is a character, and you know, his family and my family are still really close. They were out here for 4th of July with us, and we're already talking about planning another trip together. But you know, he was a guy that, like, you know, as a young pitcher, I mean, he kept it very, very simple. And it was just, he had that bulldog mentality.
Yeah, he
and
did.
it was like, I'm going to make you beat me. And that's something that, you know, at the end of the day, like, if you go out there and do that, like, you can take it. You know, it's not like, you know, oh, second guess, man, I should have thrown that pitch. I should have thrown that. It's like, it doesn't matter, whichever one you're committed to and you have the most conviction with.
Lot of Scrape, you got your hand
I
up.
got
I'm
one.
sorry.
I just didn't want to
I'm
bust
sorry.
in.
Go ahead,
No,
man.
Tony,
I'm just
you guys
taking over. Go ahead.
No, I'm in some weird world over there watching a great conversation from in studio. But my question, we talked about Paul Skeens, and we have a pretty good chance at Rookie of the Year here in San Diego. I'm not going to ask you to choose who's going to win, but what has Jackson Merrill shown you this year in his rookie year and leading the team, playing center field, all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to do. I think when you get the first taste of, you know, going through to the finish line, especially when you come from, you know, shortened minor league season or like with Skeens, like college season and stuff, that, you know, there's going to be some, you know, I guess physical breakdown at some point. But when you're staying consistent with that and you've kind of proven that, you know, you belong, you know, that's one thing that, you know, it doesn't come along very often. And in a way, I feel like it's, you know, that could be a little bit harder from a position player standpoint, because, you know, starting pitcher, like, you can go out there and be lights out, but you're pitching once every 5 days, 5-6 days. And, you know, when you start to like change the rotation around just for long-term health perspective. Like those position players, they're grinding, they're playing through injuries, and to be able to have that, professional sense and like feel to still go out there and perform. It's impressive when you see a guy that young be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we haven't had to have a discussion of is health. He's been available every single game. A lot of injuries with pitchers this year. Some of the best pitchers in our game have missed the year due to injury. I mean, you see it. Guys are throwing harder than they ever have. You kind of started that trend as well. Is there a remedy to this? I mean, there was a time you and I both grew up in an era watching aces face each other often, and it was like the game to watch. We don't have that as much. I mean, you get a matchup like yesterday with Fromber and Dillon. Those seem to be far and few in between. Is there a remedy for this? I know you've seen some of the conversation about Major League Baseball, maybe legislating this into the game somehow. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the game of baseball, like it's in its purest form, doesn't require outside elements to control it almost. It's tough to say. I mean, that's such a hard question to answer. That's the puzzle piece that I looked for my entire career. Right. I think one of the things going up was that I idolized those guys that were eating innings or innings eaters, right? And you don't see those guys valued anymore. One of the guys that I got a chance to work with in the off season was James Shields when I was coming back here in San Diego for the off seasons, and I just thought that was one thing where I just like, man, those guys are just pitching through everything. Like they are reliable. They are going out there every 5 days, and they're going deep. I don't know if it's analytics. I did start to see where it's like, oh, this guy can't face the lineup the third time through. It's hard to say if guys are being rushed to the big leagues because they throw hard and they're dominating hitters, and maybe that they haven't really understood how to pitch and they're more throwers. It's a tough call. I think I think the game's just changed in that aspect, and I don't really know if we're ever going to see it again.
Yeah, I know that's what the league is clamoring for at some point. But you're right. Yeah. Once it's almost like what we say, the toothpaste is out of the tube already. I don't know that you can put it back in. We run a little short on time. Skraby, you got something else?
I got one more,
Go
and
ahead,
it's about like the pitch clock and all these different things that have come about after you left the game. But like, would you have been in favor of a pitch clock? Because I think at first many people thought it was going to be awkward, it was going to be weird, but we've all gotten used to it. So, what are your thoughts on things like the pitch clock?
You can be honest too.
Yeah, I think the pitch clock is controversial. I think it's one of those things that was like kind of pointless to me. I think if as a pitcher, it's like you want to pitch at a fast tempo. The hitter wants to slow the game down. But at this, like, there's been some instances obviously where there's been a pitch clock violation and it's really messed up the outcome of the game. And I think that's not right from a personal perspective. That's the difference about baseball compared to any other sport. There is no clock.
Yeah.
And that's I think if you allow the players as a whole to police it themselves, and I think that's where you can't police it yourself anymore.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like pitch clock didn't really come into factor because like you're trying to go out there and get in this repetitive tempo, and that tempo is fast because you want to have the hitter almost be on the defensive and not in the offensive.
You're 100% right. I mean, that was the game. It was he's going to try to go quick. I'm going to try to go slow so I can kind of think this out. Who's going to win that cat and mouse?
Mark Burley threw like a 2 hour and 5 minute complete game against us one time, and it was just like rapid fire. Here it is. Hit it. Sinker, ground ball. And I was like, man, that was a quick game.
Strauss, give us the website.
Yeah, it's aztecalumni.com. The sign-up sheet is open for the golf tournament on November 15th. And, I would love everybody to come out and support the baseball program. I believe it can go to some great heights here and really honor your dad. He's he's got a special place in my heart, and he always will.
Yeah, he definitely considered you a second son, Stephen. Appreciate you coming on, man. We'll
Thank you so much.
make sure we get the word out for sure.
Appreciate it.
More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Welcome back. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Gwynn and Chris L.O. out on vacation. Listen, I want to apologize. I didn't, we're supposed to come back in and, every once in a while during the interview, we're supposed to remind you guys who we're talking to. I forgot to do that. What's that called again? It's called a
reset.
I didn't reset. And I'll be honest with you, why I didn't reset. I've known Stephen for a very long time. Without microphones, I have never got him to sit and talk like that ever. So I was just kind of enjoying the conversation we were having, and so I forgot to reset a couple times. But I only forgot to reset because it was compelling. I've never had a chance to sit and talk to him. So that was a fun conversation. It just goes to show you, man, baseball is stressful. And it seems like he's been able to kind of get away from it for a little bit and just kind of enjoy life. And so that right there was my first experience really ever getting to chat it up with him like that. And so
he's just a wealth of information.
I appreciate him. We appreciate him coming on and kind of opening it up for us. I mean, I thought one of the interesting parts was him talking about the playoffs and the feel for how different, how intense those games get, man. I've got 3 at-bats in postseason play. And I tell you what, 2008, I had been playing professional baseball at that point since 2003. It felt like the first at-bat I had. Remember I tell you guys it felt like you're floating?
Yes.
That's how it felt every single time I was in the box for a playoff game.
It's just that buzz.
It's literally, and two of the ABs came in Philly, so it's a literal buzz in your ear. I remember very well Chase Utley robbing me of a great drag bunt, glove flipped. I should have had 2 hits. I should be 2 for 3 in the postseason play, but instead I'm 1 for 3. I digress.
Chase Utley, Hall of Famer, right?
Hall of Good.
Oh, well, still, he did that to a lot of people.
He did. I can't be mad. But Stephen Strasburg was in the building. Got a chance to chop it up with him for a little bit.
That was kind of surreal for me, gotta say, a little bit. He came in and we were sitting in the back just talking, and I was like, oh, this guy is just a normal dude, just like us.
Man. I mean, he's county kid, just from San Diego. As you can see, his journey wasn't just he didn't just pop on the radar when he started throwing 100. He had to kind of work to get there. So I always think it's fun for young kids that are aspiring to be a big leaguer to kind of hear those stories, because most of the time you're gonna have to go through something tough in order to get to that. So 3:00 usually is our daily gambit.
Yes, but I did not. We can do it here if you want. I moved it to 4 just because I didn't know if there was going to be any spillover. But we could do the daily gambit.
It's up to you, buddy. You're the producer. What do you want to do?
Let's just do the daily gambit. We're just making bets because we didn't do any of the other things.
Let's do the daily gambit then.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
The Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. We have 4 bets that we're going to make tonight, all on the Thursday night football game. Again, it's the Jets and the Patriots. Coverage is going to start here on 97.3 The Fan at 4:30. But the first prop bet that we have is going to be about Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, we did talk a little fantasy football earlier today too, and we were talking about Garrett Wilson back in the room.
I was about to say, no, we have not.
Stephen Strasburg is he's a fantasy football guy.
He's a Garrett Wilson older too.
Yeah, so we
you
talked
guys
about
bonded
Garrett Wilson.
on that.
Yes, because we both have been trying to see Garrett Wilson break out for the last couple years. But Aaron Rodgers, this line got me it got me thinking. Over under 20.5 passing completions for Aaron Rodgers tonight against the Patriots. Now, he had 13 against the 49ers, and he had 18 against the Titans.
20. He got to get over 20?
He's got to get 21 completions
I'm going
or more.
under.
Under. I want to say over because I feel like this is the time that they're going to open it up, but 21 completions for this offense right now seems a little... I mean, they still have Nathaniel Hackett as the mastermind, so I'm going to go under. Also, Aaron Rodgers. I thought this one was funny. Over under 1.5 rushes in the game. Not rushing yards, just actual rushing attempts. Now, he had 2 against the Titans, and he had 1 against the 49ers. I'm up first. I think he goes over today. I don't know why, but he only needs 2 attempts on the day.
I'm going under.
You're going under. I mean, he's still dealing with the Achilles and all of that good stuff. Now, Hunter Henry, tight end for the Patriots. He had a massive game last week. He had 109 yards. He had a terrible game in the first week. He had 18 yards. So, Tony, is he over under 33.5 receiving yards?
Who is this?
Hunter Henry, the tight end for the Patriots.
He'll be over.
He'll be over. I agree with you. He'll be over. And then the final one, Breece Hall, over under 31.5 receiving yards. He had 39 against the 49ers, 52 last week. Both overs. I'm going over in this one.
Let's go, Breece. I'm going over, baby.
All right. So that is it.
Walk off. That's it for the bets.
That's it. Yeah, we're done.
Walk off. And this is a big series, by the way. A lot of exciting things happening in Major League Baseball. Guardians, Twins, right?
Oh yeah,
those two are neck and neck. Guardians, walk off.
Wow.
Andres, is it Andres? Jimenez gave him the night Curry signal after he got the walk off hit. So that changes the standings in the American League Central. Cleveland now well ahead. Twins are fighting Kansas City for one of the last wild card spots. And so, that loss certainly doesn't help their cause. Minnesota currently now tied with the Detroit Tigers for the third playoff or third wild card spot.
Let's talk about that for a second.
First of all, wait, let's talk about this real quick.
Okay.
The fact that the supposed bad division, AL Central, could very well end up with 3 teams, and the team that's on the outskirts is also from the AL Central. You got the Chiefs, the Royals, the Twins, Tigers fighting it out for the last two of the last 3 spots, and then you got the Guardians leading the way. 4 teams.
Kind
AL
of sounds
Central,
like the NL West a little bit.
It does a little bit.
I want to say now that the Padres played the Tigers a couple weeks ago here at Petco Park. I think we all remember a grand slam being hit.
Yes, and what
But what I'm bringing that
after.
up for now is that the Tigers are in it, which means that the series win that the Padres had over the Tigers is much more impressive to me that they took that series rather than losing that series, because the Tigers are a good team. Like when you hear Tigers, you think whatever, it's the Tigers.
There is some PTSD from them being so bad. I think people hear Tigers and it just, you assume immediately that they're not very good. Even when you look at their record. I looked at their record for 3 days when I was writing their thing down, and it couldn't quite snap over. But
they were 8-2 in their last 10. They're 80-73 on the season. I mean, it's a good team.
It is a good team. It's a formidable team for sure. I just find that interesting. AL West was kicked earlier in the season when the Diamondbacks weren't playing that great. It was kind of a 500. I think everybody was above 500, but right at 500. Then the Dodgers kind of took off, and it was kind of top heavy. But now you see those 3 teams. 3 teams right now look like they're shoo-in to get into the playoffs.
If we move to the National League Central, Brewers have already clinched, so they got their spot all locked up, which would be nice for the Padres.
By the way, that's another good team the Padres have handled this year.
Yeah.
We can go down the list of good teams. The only good team the Padres got thumped by were the Yankees and the Phillies.
Yankees series seems so long ago. It really does.
It does seem so long.
I think Darvish was still pitching the first time when that happened in May.
I think he was.
I think the Yankees
Padres
as well.
handled the Orioles.
Yeah, they did.
They handled the Royals. They handled the Guardians. They handled the Astros. They had the Mets. We split with the Mets basically, right? Because they swept us there, and we took 2 or 3. So Mets beat them overall.
Twins.
Handled the Twins. Handled the Brew Crew, as I said.
Handled the Red Sox.
So I mean, the Padres have taken care of business, against some of the best teams in the league, and I think that's another reason why everybody should have a little more trust in this ball club.
I feel like there is more trust out there, and I feel
I do
like
too.
the
I do
baggage
too.
is starting to get a little lighter on everyone. But like, it's still like he was talking about playing in the playoff game. All of us fans are nervous about the playoff games.
Average division juice by playing the White Sox a lot, though. I mean, they're not really playing the division like they used to.
Oh, is it Kobayashi?
I don't know. I don't know that I buy that argument. White Sox help create more over 500. I guess.
Fans have interesting ways of describing things, because that to me kind of makes sense. The part where it says the White Sox help create more over 500.
They're
teams.
36 and 117. So I mean, they clearly aren't the greatest team on the planet.
No,
but I don't know. I think in a vacuum, that might be true. But I think those 4 teams, despite how their record may look, they've grinded to get to this point. And you could have said the same thing about the 2022 Padres, and then they sure enough went all the way to the NLCS. So
that's true.
Nonetheless, good baseball happening right now. Fun time of year for baseball right now. All right, let's get to break. When we come back,
I actually have a clip for you of Caleb Williams and C.J. Stroud.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this clip?
Yes, I've seen this.
I need to get your opinion on this clip. I'm not going to say anything about how I feel about this clip.
Oh, you will. You definitely will.
No, I will. I'm going into this without saying anything, and then we'll hear what you have to say about it.
All right. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic. 3:19 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby. Gwynn and Skraby for the next week.
Yeah, kind of has a great ring to it, if you ask me. Just kidding.
I can't say that too much.
Just kidding.
My partner probably could feel some type of way.
Chris is probably losing his mind right now because Tony got a text from his wife this morning saying his phone's not working.
I was just getting ready to say he probably is losing his phone. They're in Canada. Phone's not working. And he clearly, I know he's panicked because he had Lori send me a text, which is, only time I've gotten a text from Lori was for his birthday earlier this year. So I know this is definitely important to him.
It's like,
and I will reveal what he said. And Skraby's a little unsure about following through on this.
Yeah.
So, of course, we have our Gwynn and Chris Pick'em. Obviously, Chris is not here, and his phone is not working. And so he has allowed Skraby to pick for him.
I feel like this is only going one way. And I feel like this is only a setup for Chris to just crush me the entire year.
Lambaste you.
Like, well, I would have been in first, but Skraby picked in week 3.
What if you do well, though?
He's gonna say it's null and void because he can't give me the satisfaction of doing well in a pick'em. But we're gonna do it anyway.
We are. We're gonna have a pick'em at the end of the week, right? As we do it.
We're doing it today.
Are we doing it today?
4:20 is when we're doing it. Heading into Monday Night Football, that starts at 4:30 here on the station.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am totally dependent on Chris because he usually puts the lines in the score. Oh, you got some paper. All right.
Yes, because Chris, there's
Chris
two.
is so methodical with this thing. Like, I get a text every morning on Thursday with the line of every game that week. And that's how I normally know what the lines are.
Home team in caps.
He's got, Oh, yeah. By the way, he does home team in caps.
Not like put him on the right side.
No. Home home team in caps, road team on the in small letters, and depending on home, it's a lot for a text, and he does this every week. So
I can only imagine. I'm gonna do this in the YouTube camera. If you want to search 97.3 The Fan, Chris does this when he's texting. He does like the finger peck, and then he goes. Rah!
He definitely does the finger.
He does the whole
the
thing.
finger peck.
Boop, 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 boop. And then he hits the wrong button. He gets all frustrated.
He's not a thumbs guy. He's definitely the old school one finger button guy.
Boop, 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 boop. Still using T9. I wanted to ask you about something. And
NFL?
No, we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you for reminding me. It was something, I got a couple messages this morning. One from our guy, Will Galvez, who used to work here on the station. And he said, Tony is so mad right now about this bunt conversation. And then I got a tweet about how you sounded exhausted from the round table. What the heck happened?
You know what? First, shout out to Ben and Woods, because they have a great humor. They do. They know how to have that kind of conversation. Because I'm not gonna lie, I am quite annoyed by the bunt conversation.
Are we talking about Jerks and Profar?
Whoever we're talking about,
just bunting in general. I thought this was like a.
It pertained to Jerks and bunting. Hold up, you go ahead, carry the conversation for a second. I need to get my ducks in a row here.
He's going to get his ducks in a row, but so I heard that this morning, and if everybody wants to go and try to watch this whole kerfuffle that happened on the round table, then you need to go to the YouTube and type in 97.3 The Fan. You can find the entire recording.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
there.
so, Jerickson bunted in the third inning, right? He sack bunted. It moved Diaz and Lockridge over. Now, it ends up happening that Toddy and Manny end up making out. Toddy punched. Manny hit a hard ground ball to second base. They got out there. So it didn't work in the third. And, I knew it was coming.
You could kind of feel it.
I could feel it. So when Chris asked, or when Adam asked me if I was coming in to do the round table, I really didn't want to come in. In part because I knew that was going to come up at some point.
It stressed you out.
And it was my off day. I was like, I kind of want to just chill, but I came in anyway. And the conversation was going great. We were just having a good time, and about 35 minutes in, it came up the bunt situation. And I understand that it's not their favorite thing to watch, but like at some point, this is a part of what they do. It's a part of who the Padres are. And so it shouldn't be like this big ordeal all the time.
What was their argument against it?
They wanted him to swing it.
Just because?
Well, they feel like he had a chance to drive him in. We are talking Framber Valdez here. It's not like this dude is a scrub out there. I mean, this is like the best ground, not just me saying it, literally the best ground ball pitcher in baseball. First and second. And you know who hits into the most double plays? We talked about this.
Manny Machado.
Well, not just Manny Machado. The Padres in general hitting to a ton of double plays.
Yeah.
So you bunt, you move the guy up. You got 2 shots. Not only do you have 2 shots, you got 2 shots with your best, 2 of your best at the plate. I don't know. To me, and I explained this on the round table, it's emblematic. You know what's funny is I wanted to use the word emblematic in real time, but there's a piece of me like, I don't know if that's the right word. So I changed up the word.
Oh, yes?
So the one that I knew that was for sure fit.
Which word did you choose?
I don't remember at this point.
Okay.
I think it said evidence. It's further evidence.
That's a good line. I like that.
I think I went that route.
I do declare the further evidence.
But it is emblematic of, who they are as a team. A lot of times we talked about last year that team not necessarily looking like they fit together. This team fits together because they're willing to sacrifice, and not literally, but sacrifice the
you sacrifice the at-bat,
joy, the whatever comes with being the guy getting a hit there, right? The glory, right? They're willing to sacrifice the glory to their other teammate who they, feels like a good chance. Didn't work out that inning. So, I get it. But, bunting is part of baseball. No matter how much you analytic folks and Ben and Woods don't like it.
I think it's kind of exciting, to be honest, because, and I know what that sounds crazy, but when you do a bunt, when you put down a bunt and no one's expecting it, that's pretty fun to see. Also, it usually has some sort of close play involved, and so I like the bunt. I don't necessarily have any problems with the bunt, but Juan Soto just ran.
Did you see the play
he's
he just
down.
made?
He's down. He's in Seattle. He just was trying to field a ball in right field, and he ran right into the wall, and he does not look like he's feeling good right now.
Oh, he banged that knee into that wall.
Oh, he's got the jersey in his mouth. Oh, he looks like he's having trouble, to be honest. Like, we'll update you on that. But.
Nonetheless, that was what. Honestly, it wasn't really that upset. It was a good debate. And I enjoyed it, actually. When it was all said and done, we had some good laughs.
All right. Well, good. It sounded more serious from all the comments that I got from people.
That's probably because I probably was initially like, I think I might have rolled my head into my hands in my lap when they initially brought it up, something along those lines.
It was a Skraby eye roll.
Yeah, almost. All right, give me what you got.
Yes, all right. So after the Sunday Night Football game with the Bears and the Texans, C.J. Stroud won Rookie of the Year last year. He went to go find Caleb Williams to kind of talk to him a little bit, and it was caught by the NFL Films mic'd up. And so this is the situation.
Wait, real quick. Sorry. Here's a request that you do the pick'ems and your Chris Ello voice.
That's no problem. I got that down.
I think that would be fun.
He's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it.
We're gonna save this and then play it for him when he comes back.
Oh, okay.
Your voiceover. All right, go ahead.
And then so C.J. Stroud looking for Caleb Williams after the game had a little bit of advice for him. So you're gonna hear C.J. Stroud's voice first.
Good job out there, bro. Yeah. Hey, keep going. Stop taking those hits. Yeah, I know. Hey. Yeah. Learn from those mistakes, and everything that you got, bro, is in you already, bro. You're going to be a hell of a player in this league. Yeah. All right, boy. Appreciate it. For sure.
So that's it. That's the interaction.
Okay.
And this is one of the most controversial interactions that has ever happened on a football field, according to the internet. So, Tony.
Yeah, this is why I hate the internet. This is why I hate it.
I thought about you the second I watched this clip. What do you think about it?
I don't think anything about it.
I knew that was your answer.
I think this is a young man who just went through it, trying to impart some wisdom on someone who is about to go through it. And it don't look, at least at this point, it don't look like Caleb is about to enjoy the same ride that C.J. Stroud got to enjoy. So my guess is that criticism that is fairly mute right now will only get louder if they aren't winning games.
Probably.
And so I think I didn't hear anything in there that was bad information. People feel some type of way because it's the second-year quarterback trying to impart some wisdom, but I think this is a special quarterback, right? I mean, he just led in his rookie year a team into the divisional
Playoffs,
round.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think a lot of people are also thinking that Caleb Williams was a little bit off-put by the whole thing. He was trying to get away, and I'm not saying
first of all
he just lost the game and he just got beat up.
Let me stop you. He just lost his second game in a row.
Yeah, he got beat up on national TV.
Beat up on national TV. And hey, he probably don't even know how that's supposed to go at this point. It's only a second, come to the middle of the field and shake the other quarterback's hand moment. The first time, he got the victory in his first week, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he did. Yeah, you're right.
They won the
somehow
first week.
beat the Titans
They
without
beat
an
the
offensive
Titans.
touchdown.
I'm sure him and Mayonnaise Man didn't have the same
Will Levis.
didn't have the same interaction after the game. But I people we make a molehill out of anything now, or turn a molehill into a mountain, I should say.
Yes.
I
agree with you. Now, I'm a Caleb Williams disliker. I didn't see
By
him.
the way, why do we dislike Caleb Williams? What did he do?
I think
I'm gonna let you think about this for a little bit. Go ahead. Tell me why we don't like Caleb Williams.
I don't know. There's just something about the I know everything attitude, kind of. That
Where did you get that?
I'm putting that on him. But I think a lot of people are hearing stories from college and how his teammates didn't show up to his birthday party, and then that thing, at the Holiday Bowl with the USC wide receiver is like, oh, we got a real team now. We don't know he was talking about Caleb Williams or anything like that. I feel like there's maybe a misnomer about Caleb Williams that he is all about himself, but that's kind of how I feel. I don't know how I feel that way, but that's the sixth sense that I have.
I don't know how you feel that way either, buddy. When we get to know Caleb, or when you get to know him, let me know if it actually matches up.
Okay.
I'd be interested to see.
Okay. I did like when he was entering the stadium in his off field clothes or whatever. I don't know, what do you call that? Just clothes? I don't know.
The clothes he wears.
They're like, he looks like he wants to be an archaeologist. It was like he did kind of look like Indiana Jones a little bit.
Did he have glasses? Oh.
He had these pants that look like archaeology pants.
Where is the archaeology section at the store?
At anthropology. Yeah. Archaeology at anthropology. Anyway, that's it.
Let's get to break. On the other side, we got a big 5 on our way. And Skraby is hopefully got 5 questions. I know he was one short before we started.
Oh, no. No, I was not.
No, you were short?
No,
all right.
no.
More Gwynn Chris on the other side.
Odyssey.
338. Big Fizz, a Big Five.
Or the Big Fizzy.
Big Fizzy is what I was going to say. I caught myself, though. Yes, Skraby is the ultimate making a mountain out of a molehill.
I saw that comment, and I don't understand what that comment is about. I don't. Can you give me an example, Mr. Batfan1?
You mean how you will make something small into something large? You need examples?
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I'm trying to honestly
need
think of what I did this week.
Let's check.
Maybe the Robert Suarez ERA.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes. Don't get me started on that. All right, let's check some traffic and then to Skraby's Big Five we go.
From the 90 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Guys at Southbound 5 is having a rough go of it this afternoon. We've still got emergency crews on scene retrieving a vehicle that went into a ditch on the East 8 to the South 5 connector ramp. Also an accident South 5 at the 8. That's in the center divide. Stalled vehicle up ahead right around Pershing. Looks like that's in the clearing stage. Then a stall being cleared South 5 near the 15 connector. Just up ahead at Main and Division. Crash over to the right shoulder. Then up ahead at Mile of Cars way off ramp. Got a collision. So yeah, just a messy ride for you southbound 5 this afternoon. Southbound side of the 805 has its moments. There is a crash reported at Palm Avenue. That is over to the right shoulder. Going to find on westbound 8 at the northbound 805 connector ramp. Stalled vehicle over to the right shoulder. In the North County, southbound 15 near the 76. Crash over to the right shoulder. And eastbound 56 right before the 15. An accident over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Big Five today. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiros for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Now, I don't know that anyone really wants to hear this, but Shohei Ohtani hit his 49th home run. So,
he's closing
he's
in on
one,
50-50.
Yeah, he needs one more steal, I believe, and then definitely one more home run.
Oh, you guys, yeah. I think I'd rather him do it before we get there.
Yeah, I don't want... Yeah, because then for the rest of the time, he slides into the base, the video shows a Padre in the background.
That's my point.
No.
Let's hope that he knocks both of those out.
We got some time.
We got 3 games. What are you talking about?
He should be able to hit one more home run. I'm putting that on him.
I hope so. I want him to do it. But you say you got a bunch of games. You got 3 games before we show up. Real quick. Dodgers ahead of Miami right now, 9-3 in the 7th. As Skraby mentioned, 15-3 Atlanta walked away with a victory today. Arizona and Milwaukee face off at 4:15 Pacific time, so about 30 minutes. And then the Mets and Phillies take on one another same time. So there is some scoreboard watching to be had tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And you don't have a dog in the fight tonight.
Tyler tells me that he got steal 50 and 51 earlier in the game, so Shohei Ohtani's just one home run away from 50-50.
Oh, I need him to do that these next 3 games. Or tonight. Do it tonight.
Yeah, do it tonight, Shohei.
Do it tonight, Shohei.
All
or
right.
today. You got. If he's not already out of that game, it's 9. He's probably in that game because he's probably trying to get 50. So
yeah, they can't waste the
it's a
opportunities.
good time to do it.
Number 5.
By the way, he is 4 for 4 today with 5 RBIs, just no homers.
It's annoying how good he is sometimes. Mariners star Julio Rodriguez had an interesting night last night because he had to dodge a bat, and then he was tagged out. Here is a prime video of the game last night.
Runners lead, 2-2. Swing and a miss. And the ball is thrown to third, and they get J-Rod. Oh, what a happenstance. Arozarena strikes out, lets go of the bat.
So he lets go of the bat. Julio Rodriguez dodges the bat, kind of forgets that he's playing baseball, and Austin Wells threw it down to third, tags him out. My question for this one is, do you blame him? That was coming at his head.
It was. Yes and no. I don't blame him. I mean, he did the natural thing, which was get out of the way.
Yeah.
But then he took like a jog, like around the grass. I think he literally forgot what he was doing out there. In his defense, the bat was in line to hit him. So, he wasn't exaggerating getting out of the way. But he did forget that there was actually a ball in play. You know, typically a guy strikes out, he loses the bat, like it's strike 3, you know, the inning may end or whatever. But this is a live ball. Hey, man, credit to Jazz Chisholm, who came running into third base, like, throw me the ball.
Yeah.
And that was after the catcher kind of came out of his crouch, and it was like he almost couldn't believe.
Like, what is happening over there?
What is he doing? Okay, so he starts running down to third base. Jazz calls for the ball. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing right there. That's a tough one.
He went in and apologized after the game for his mental error.
He couldn't, you know, you could just see it in his run off the field. Like he was
sat at the base for maybe 10 seconds. Like,
I don't want to leave here. I want to pretend like this didn't happen.
I'm a meme now.
Yeah, man, that's all bad.
Do I blame him? No. But I feel like there should be some sort of maybe automatic timeout if you have to dodge a bat coming at you.
Nah, man, you gotta get back. See, you know, you would like to have him had that mapped out already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things you think about when you're on third base is, okay, which direction am I going if he hits a foul ball?
Yeah.
Right? I got to be able to get out of the way.
This could come screaming at me.
Right. A right-hander, likely, if he pulls a ball, it's going to have some hook on it if you're in danger. So which way are you going to go? The bat's a little different. It's not a ball. It's a stick coming, swinging around.
It's like a helicopter.
I don't fault him for getting out of the way he did. You got to be able to think, man. That run was important. They ended up losing in extra innings.
Yeah,
by one.
Big deal.
So you know. Thankfully, Seattle's. I mean, technically they're in it, but they're not in it.
I was gonna say, at least it didn't happen to a team that was on the brink of making the playoffs.
But you helped you certainly helped the Yankees clinch. They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
that's true.
Number 4.
Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell and his wife Holly are selling their home due to security concerns after their address was leaked online last season. Campbell did not provide specifics on any particular incidents that occurred, but according to Fox 2 Detroit, the address was leaked online following their Week 17 20-19 loss to the Cowboys last season. That led to contractors showing up at the house for repairs that weren't needed as a prank, according to Fox Sports' Jay Glazer. That is a pretty funny prank. But it's also messing with the contractor because then, they're going to go out there thinking they have a job, and now they don't have a job, and Dan Campbell's the kneecap cannibal sitting there. After harassment continued following the Lions' loss in the NFC Championship to the 49ers, the Campbells filed police reports with Bloomfield Township, and the police say they take this very seriously, but they are moving anyway. Now, this stems from something Titans quarterback Will Levis, the mayonnaise man, recently had his number leaked to fans and has received text messages from fans criticizing him.
Had to change his number.
So this happens in all sports. My question here, and I'm first. So the entities like the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL need to take player safety and security more seriously. I do think that we're getting to a point where these leagues are going to have to provide security for some of these people. It's getting crazy enough that people are showing up to people's houses, following people home, doing insane things just because they play a sport. I think this is crazy, but yes, I think these leagues are going to have to start protecting their people a little bit more. Tony? And I don't know what that looks like.
First, I mean, it's just sad that we're even having this conversation. Secondly, I hope it does cost all of these sports a whole bunch of money to secure their players. Because you know why this is happening? Because of gambling.
Probably.
This is why there's an uptick in it. They're losing money on their parlay, they're losing money on whatever, and they're pissed about it. And now, I don't know why, because people have been betting on parlays and games for a very long time.
Well, it was illegal, so they couldn't necessarily be out front with it.
So now they can. It's fully legal. They aren't doing any harm, so they're gonna let you know about it. And we're in an era where doxing somebody or
swatting,
swatting. Like all of these terms have been created in the last 10 years because this is what we do on a consistent basis. I'm so mad at the football team and head coach that I'm going to put his address up.
Yeah. I'm gonna send Nate's plumber to his house and say I got a leak. It's crazy, and it's only gonna take one terrible thing to happen.
People, we had for a long time dying for the access that we now have. You're gonna have less people participating and wanting to give it the access.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, best of luck to you, Kneecap Cannibal.
By the way,
Number 3.
it's not like running up on Dan Campbell is like the smartest idea.
No.
By the way, the dude is like 6'6", and he's
in
not
shape.
small.
He's in shape.
Yeah.
He can do the workouts with the players.
I watched he was doing burpees or doing push-ups all last season when they weren't getting stuff right.
Yeah. He's a very strong man.
I'm just
that
saying,
would be the last person
you better have your stuff together going over there.
NFL kicking is getting so good, there may be a change coming.
Another one?
Yes. Now, 39 times during the first 2 weeks of this NFL season, NFL kickers have tried a 50-plus yard field goal. They've converted all of them but 4 of those kicks, and ironically, Justin Tucker has missed 2 of those 4 kicks over 50 yards.
Yes, I drafted him, of course.
They're thinking they need rule changes to make it more difficult.
No.
Ideas put forth are to narrow the goalposts or make a 50-plus yard kick a different number of points, and it tiers up. From 50 to 55, it's a 4-point play. 55 or more is a 5-point play. Tony, do you think there needs to be a rule change?
No.
Okay.
Why? We just changed the rules like 4 years ago to push the kicks. It might have been longer than 4 now. On my time.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I know we started kicking 20-yard extra points, 35-yard extra points.
Oh yeah, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
So I mean, why do we don't need to do that? They got better. That's the whole idea. It's like you evolve, you get better.
The article I was reading said that when Lane Kiffin in 2008 sent Sebastian Janikowski out for a 76-yard field goal and he came out 20 yards short, Al Davis fired him the next day because it was such an egregious call. Last week, the Cowboys put out Brandon Aubrey for a 71-yard field goal, and he didn't. They ended up not kicking it, but they were thinking about it.
The man had knocked down like a 64-yarder the week before.
He does have a big leg.
Like he has a huge leg.
And by the way, these kickers
former soccer player, by the way.
Yes, these kickers now, I was reading the article, they're running 4.6 40s. They're bench pressing 400 pounds.
I remember as a kid, the kicker used to have one bar on his thing, and he looked like a kicker.
And it was like Joe from the corner.
Right. They don't look like that.
They have 2 different color shoes.
They got their soccer cleats on. Yeah. They're nice and put together now.
Like Morton Anderson is the prime look of a kicker.
Baggy, long uniform.
Like 100 years old with
a black shoe and a white shoe.
And just a one
bar helmet.
Man,
yeah, that's how it goes.
Missed the 1-bar helmet.
Those guys is gone now. I mean, the athlete is just different.
Number 2.
The Manning cast has not been as popular to start this season and did rebound last week from week 1, but ESPN's Pat McAfee said something a lot of us are actually probably thinking. It's hard to follow the game watching the Manning cast. He said, quote, "You do get lost. You don't really get to watch the game whenever you're watching the Manning cast. It's very hard to pay attention to everything going on." He then said, "I think the Manning cast is going to become clips for a lot of people, which is going to happen," end quote. Some say that this is a slight to the Mannings, and I am not saying McAfee is slighting them, but I'm up first. Is saying you are a quote-unquote clips show disrespectful. And I think it could be taken disrespectfully for some people, but the Manning cast is a perfect clips show. You know what I did with the Matt Ryan stuff? Everybody was talking about how he was on there and someone else was on there. I went back and I watched the clip. And a lot of the clips that you watch from the Manning cast make sense because you're not trying to pay attention to the game after the fact. And so I do think that they're a clip show, and I don't think this is a slight. Tony, do you think it's disrespectful to call a show a clip show?
I don't know why you needed to say it, though. Like, you could have just kept that to yourself and let other people. I mean, you got to work with them, but maybe you don't.
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
Did they play together? Colts punter? Maybe they just missed each other?
They might have. They might have played with each other.
But anyway, he said it's a clip show.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know that he meant anything disrespectful by it, but I could see how it could come off kind of disrespectful, though.
Yeah, it's like, oh, your show's only
No,
good
you're
enough
a clip
for later.
show. I get the
later. Like,
I get
people
the
on
curse
the
like a
toilet get to
sailor
watch.
on my show, and you're a clip show.
Who took a shot at Pat McAfee the other day? I think it was Michael Wilbon. He said, well, if I had a black tank top on, I could say whatever I want.
Hey, well, all I know is all of those folks work at the same place. So, I mean, I don't know. This is all good that you got
No. He ruffles feathers.
firing squad on each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Number 1.
All right, so I saw this Monday night, but I didn't really think I saw what I actually saw. But Drake London scores a game-tying touchdown Monday night, and then his celebration was like, that's what I thought. It was a gun. He was shooting a gun into the air. That's what I thought. So they flagged him 15 yards. Young Hoku, I believe is his name. He had to make a long extra
He
play.
made it.
And he made it to tie the game or put them up. Now, Raheem Morris, the head coach of the Falcons, said that Drake London wasn't shooting a gun. He was shooting a T-shirt cannon because that's the kind of guy he is. He said his intent was not to use a weapon. He probably was shooting T-shirts into the stands, to be honest with you, because he's just that kind of guy. Tony, do you believe he was mimicking shooting T-shirts into the stands?
I would go on a limb and say he wasn't shooting
T-shirts.
I don't know what he was shooting. Might have been shooting ducks,
He could have been shooting ducks.
but he wasn't shooting T-shirts.
Yeah, he was not shooting T-shirts.
No one does that celebration and thinks, oh, yeah, you know how in between innings they come and shoot
T-shirts?
T-shirts to you? That's
many-
what I'm doing.
how
I
many
want to
Falcons-
mock that.
How many Falcons PR people ran up to Raheem Morris after the game? He was shooting a T-shirt cannon, okay? He was shooting a T-shirt cannon.
I don't know if they came up to him, but it was a good thinking on his feet right there.
Yeah.
Got
All
us
right.
talking about it.
That's it for the Big Five. When we get back, Pac-12 making steps towards filling out the rest of the teams. We'll talk about that next.
Right as we went to break, I don't know if you guys saw my hands go up on the YouTube channel, but Ohtani went deep. 50-51. 50 homers, 51 bags. He's got 2 doubles, 2 homers tonight. So we won't have to deal with none of it at that point when we arrive on Monday, Monday night, play on Tuesday. So there's that. History has made first ever 50-50 player. He's in literally a league or a club of his own.
Do you think that means he gets his own spot in the Hall of Fame? He's already been. I'm not making fun of him. He's on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
He is. He won't have his own area, though, I promise you.
Won't say the 50-50 club, one guy.
No, Barry didn't have 40-40.
Barry's not even in there.
He's not. Touche.
Which he should be.
We don't need to hash that out again. He should be. We do have a Gwynn and Skraby pick'em this week. We'll get to that next segment. But right now, Pac-12 making some moves. I sent that article to you, what was that, yesterday?
Yeah, last night.
Last night. The Aztecs are obviously a part of the Pac-12 now. And, the conversation, and by the way, great interview the other day. I missed it.
Oh, with J.D. Wicker.
Yeah. It sounded like the Aztecs will have input.
They will.
On what'd you think of so tell me about the interview. I missed it. I didn't get a chance to listen to it.
No, I feel like he's very optimistic. Obviously, this is a big deal. And I know that there are a lot of fans out there that aren't happy that they turned down the deal with the Big 12 because they weren't going to get full share. And
why would they take the deal if they're not going to get full share?
That's what I'm thinking. Because other big name schools have taken the deal, but I think a school like say Oklahoma is a little bit different than a school like San Diego State, and so I understand
it's not even close.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, that took that deal, I assume, to go to the SEC, was moving out of the Big 12, which was already a pretty lucrative thing. Plus, It's Oklahoma. It's not San Diego State.
And the SEC can just be like, fine, we don't want you, Oklahoma, and they'll be fine.
Right.
They'll be okay. So
there's
Oklahoma's
more
willing
to gain by simply being in that conference.
Exactly.
That will open up however many avenues that will make up for whatever you're not getting in the big pot.
And so J.D. Wicker basically said, we want to be on the ground floor. This is a better deal for us because we're not going to be left out of certain things. And I thought about this interview all week, and I think it's great that they're on the ground floor. I think that this is something that maybe years from now we'll look at and be like, this was an amazing move because they got into a conference early, and they're able to determine other schools that are going to be in the conference, and they're getting a full share. And I know that it's not filled out right now, but I think we need to wait a year or two before this happens.
The reality is
we decide.
I think it sets up to be the better of the deals. Anything can happen at this point, right? There could be another shakeup of colleges, which we certainly don't hope. But they have their eyes set on a few teams. We've talked about what was it? Texas, San Antonio.
San Antonio, North
Texas, South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like they want to get into the rest of the country outside of the...
Yeah, Memphis is also in that group.
Memphis is another team in that group. I'm excited for... And then they also talked about in that article, it was a Bleacher Report article, they also talked about beyond the football teams, how it's setting up to possibly be one of the better basketball conferences, because they were also than try to go after a team like Gonzaga.
They have to get Gonzaga for the basketball
because
side.
right now, as it sets up, it's a pretty good basketball conference.
Yeah.
Off top.
Yeah.
San Diego State's in that. You already going to be joining the likes of a Washington State and Oregon State. Some good. And then you can bring a Gonzaga into that fold. You got yourself a pretty good conference.
If we're talking football, which is where
the
everybody
money's at.
always says is the money.
Yep.
I'm not interested, or I'm not interested. I'm not excited about teams like North Texas or Texas San Antonio. I mean, that's almost just taking a step or going back to the Mountain West to me, because the Mountain West has more established programs. They also said that in the article that all of the Mountain West schools are being looked at to join. So UNLV, I think, was one of the biggest teams that was left off that people were thinking are going to be in the Pac-12. But I don't want Texas State. I don't want North Texas or UTSA. I want the teams like, I know they're never going to get in Arizona, but I want a team with a little bit of a name to it. I think the North Texas Green Flash maybe, or is that the Tulane Green Flash? I don't know. But beggars can't be choosers. I just don't really get excited about these teams.
Yeah, I can feel that. I mean, it sounds like those teams are on the board. According to the Pac-12 commissioner, there's been a lot of teams reaching out that possibly want to get in. That could just be him spinning it however he wants to spin it. Or excuse me,
Teresa Gould.
Could be her. Could be her spinning it the way she, in order for it to look better. But I can see a scenario. Look, there are going to be there's going to be some teams left out of those two ginormous conferences in the Big Ten, 3 big ginormous conferences. There's going to be some teams left out. Pretty good teams that you could swoop up and bring on in.
I would like to think of San Diego State in a better position than, I keep saying North Texas or Texas State. I feel like they're not in the same kind of realm. And San Diego State, here's another thing about not going into the Big 12. Do you want to be, in my opinion, a doormat forever because you'll never get off the ground with all the other great schools in the conference that kids can go to? We're talking about like them turning down the Big 12. If they were to go to the Big 12, the current football team that they have, they're rebuilding it, but it's not ready to compete with those big schools.
I agree. It wouldn't. After hearing some of the details of the Big 12 and why it didn't work, I agree with JD. I like that he gambled, no doubt. He definitely gambled, and it. Initially it didn't look like the gamble was well when the Pac-12 kind of collapsed and went to pieces. But sometimes patience is a virtue, and it seemingly has worked out for the Aztecs to this point.
That's what Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gould said. When might more members be added? She said, "We haven't set a soft or hard timeline at all, because for us it's really about being patient enough to see what opportunities might unfold, but also being aggressive enough to create opportunities on our own," which I think is important, because we need to wait until this whole conference is filled out before we can really be mad or angry at it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. In case you missed it, Shohei Ohtani is the first member of the 50-50 club. 50 homers, 51 stolen bases at this point. I did see him say that he's had no discussions at all about pitching in the postseason, and he kind of indicated that it may be kind of tough for him to be informed to pitch in the postseason, because that's how desperate they are, that people are talking about him coming back when they had announced long ago that he wasn't pitching all this year, that he's going to pitch the most intense time of the year. But it sounds like that might be a long shot.
I went on Dodgers Reddit the other day just to see what everybody's saying, and everybody's very worried about the pitching, Tony.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I bet they are.
Starting pitching is not very good for the Dodgers right now. They're struggling all around with pitching, and so MLB Network put up this list the other day of the people that are
of course,
players or coaches.
Jack Flaherty pitched for him today. That's why they're having such a good day.
14-3. There you go. And then they're gonna have someone else go tomorrow that's gonna give up 8 runs. But where was I going with that? Oh, the people have the most pressure in the playoffs, and Dave Roberts was on the list as number 4.
In terms of keeping his job?
Of terms of just pressure overall. Aaron Boone was the number 1 manager of the Yankees. I think that he does have a ton of pressure. I believe Bryce Harper was number 2. And then number 3 was A.J. Preller, which I found very weird that A.J. Preller was in this
They're
mix.
all over the man. They got players, coaches,
Yeah, it's kind of a
GMs.
weird. Let me get the 5th one, but it's kind of a weird little list that they put together. But I think that Dave Roberts, Mike Elias, a GM
Elias.
somewhere. Let me
Not off
see.
the top of my head, Mike Elias.
Mike Elias, but that's who they have in 5th. Orioles GM.
Oh, that's why I didn't know.
I think everything makes sense except for AJ Preller being number 3.
I don't think
Dave
Michael
Roberts.
Elias is on the chop. He got like one of the youngest teams out there.
But they're falling right now. They're fading right now.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Dave Roberts? Don't you think he has more pressure than AJ Preller? AJ Preller has put a team on the field that can win.
They put Dave in front of AJ. Didn't
No,
they
they put Dave after AJ.
Oh. It'd be pretty hard to say AJ's going in with pressure after the year he's had. I don't know that I don't think he's hit the wrong button once. Every move he's made has turned into gold.
You got
Arise.
Solano?
Sorry,
Yeah.
excuse me. Cease first. That one popped off.
Mm-hmm.
Then Arise. That one popped off. Then Solano and Peralta. Those popped off. And then every pitcher he's brought in via the deadline. All popped off. So, like, I think unfortunately, he can't control anything once it goes to the postseason. Like, he can have some impact on when the regular season happens. He gets to, put the team together as he has, along with the staff and Mike Schilt and his staff. But after that, once the postseason started, it's all on the players at that point. Players.
Can you make like major additions during the postseason?
Not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You get 26. You got to turn that in the day before the series starts or whatever the time frame is, and you run them out there. See what happens. So
Nate also says that AJ won the Soto
he
trade.
sure did. He has not made a bad deal since the season ended last year.
Yeah,
everything has been money. Even I'm trying to think. Did we have? Let's not forget the Profar deal. He signed him to a 1-year deal.
$1 million deal, which is even which is even crazier. And he's going to have to really think hard about what's going to happen with Profar this next season. I think fans are putting a little bit of pressure on the organization to bring back Profar for the rest of his career.
It's going to be tough, man. You got to think. I mean, Kim's a free agent. Profar's a free agent. Kim we don't know if we're going to even see Kim the rest of this year.
It's true.
So
is Tanner Scott? He's kind of like a rental.
I think Tanner's a free agent.
So it's got to be this year.
No, it doesn't.
The
But
window
we want
is
it to
open.
be this year.
Yes, we want it to be this year
for sure.
I feel like this team has it in him. Feel it.
Yeah, man. It's so fun to watch the team as a collective. They do such they make it fun to show up to the ballpark and watch them on a daily basis.
I mean, yeah, you're there every single night. I can't even imagine. My friend was there on Tuesday night when they lost, and he said it was just such a crazy atmosphere. He was exhausted by the end of the game.
You know, the one thing that does suck about doing the games on TV and radio is that you don't, because I have the headphones on all the time,
yeah.
I don't really get to
hear it.
Yeah,
hear the
I knew the game was crazy on Saturday, but I don't think I understood how crazy it was when everything was happening. I'm trying to discuss what's happening. We got my man taking off his shoe and sock, trying to,
Which, by the way, you and Don were great.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
What is that going to prove?
Well, my man he's got the mark on his foot.
It hit him that hard?
Yeah, well,
I guess so.
That's what I'm saying. And it was fun. The irony is that this happened to him in New York earlier.
Yeah.
And he got ejected. He didn't take off his shoe this time. This time he's like, you know what? I'm just going to have to show you. You guys don't believe me. If I'm going to get ejected, I'm going to take my shoe and sock off.
That was pretty hilarious, but everybody had to make the joke after about...
Don't take my shirt off.
And when he did it,
on everything I love, I had to stop myself from saying, don't take my shirt off.
Thank you.
It was yelling in my head. and I had to like turn it off.
I had so many listeners like DM me saying like, "Don't take my shoe off."
I definitely thought about it for sure. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, Gwynn and Skraby's NFL Pick'em.
No, it's actually going to be Chris. Remember?
Here's traffic. All right, indeed. Last segment of the day. Thursday Night Football follows. We got Gwynn and Skraby's NFL Pick.
It's time for Tony and Chris to face off. Playing for a season-long prize of pride.
I see pride. I see power.
The guys make their picks, and then they stress over their picks all weekend.
No! Please, no! No! No!
Gwynn and Chris NFL Pick'em starts now.
I currently, in my head, had a big week last week. My upset pick hit. Can't remember who it was, though. It was a good one,
I think did you pick the Falcons?
Who'd they play?
Eagles.
No. That was one of my, I think that might have been one that I lost. Was the Eagles.
Oh, I think Chris, are you and Chris out of the Survivor now?
I'm out of the Survivor.
Chris is out too.
Did he pick the Eagles too?
I think he did.
We're all three of us are out.
Yeah, I just
This
ordered
is pretty early.
I just ordered the belt today too. The championship belt. All right, so you're leading what, 9-6?
No. 9-6. Let me
You
tell
said 6-9.
I know I didn't. I said 16.
Oh, I missed the team part of it.
Yes. So this week I'm gonna keep track of who I picked. I can't remember my upset pick was money. I picked it. I'm gonna go back and look because it was a good one. But anyway, my first pick, three-point pick today. I'm going with Baker.
Really?
Matter of fact, it might have been Baker last week. Who'd they play?
Lions.
Yes, that was my pick.
That was a good pick.
That was a damn good pick, I must say. I'm going right back to Baker, baby.
Going back.
He's a good example of why you should stay patient with young draft picks.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he had a bad first year, good second year, kind of bad third year, and has gradually gotten better because he's had some, I don't know, same system and been able to kind of
players around him.
It's funny how that works.
Good coaches around him.
Baker,
All
3-point
right.
pick.
I was actually going to pick that one.
Actually, you need to get in the right voice before you pick anything.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
Thank you.
Tony. I needed to make sure I was in the right mind before I started this. Okay, I need to make this pick quicker. I am going to go with the Raiders.
That was going to be my 2-point pick. I didn't think you'd go there.
I
All
did.
right. You did.
I did.
All right. My 2-point pick. Gosh, these aren't really good ones today. Do I trust Aaron yet?
I don't know.
How about it? We'll go Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
J-E-T-S.
6.5-point favorites over the New England Pats. Where shall you go, Scrape? Time is of the essence.
I know it is. Now I know why this is so stressful for you guys. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks over the Tua-less Miami Dolphins.
All right. I feel that.
The Sea Chickens.
My 1-point pick. How about we go? I guess I'll take the Cleveland Browns then 1-point pick. They 6.5-point favorites too.
Crazy spread. Quickly, I'll just go with the 49ers 7.5-point spread over the Rams. Rams are decimated with injury.
Of course you did.
No Puka, no Cooper Kupp.
Why don't I see that one on here?
It's on the back.
Oh, dude.
Do not blame this on. Did you not know there was a
No,
back?
I didn't know there was a whole back.
Maybe we'll redo this in the break then. But at this
Oh,
point in time,
my
we need
gosh.
to finish. We need the. Do you want to change any of yours?
I absolutely want to change
Okay,
up.
what would you like to change?
Give me Cincy.
For number 2?
Number 2. That's my number 2 pick.
Okay.
2-point pick.
Now, you still taking Browns 1 point?
Heck no.
Oh, why you took the 49ers?
Well, I'll take Buffalo
You'll
for my
take
1
Buffalo
point.
for 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay, the upset.
My upset pick? Ooh, give me the Arizona Cardinals over
Cardinals.
Detroit.
Okay.
Sorry, Detroit. I picked against y'all twice now.
My upset pick
Still love
is
you, though.
going to be... Oh, my gosh.
Change your Jets pick. I did. Don't worry.
I'm going to go... I'm going to go... Falcons over Chiefs.
All right. So let me make sure I got this right. Bengals.
Bucks first?
Excuse me. Bucks, Bengals, Buffalo.
Yeah, BBB.
BBB.
Upset Cardinals. I went
Upset
Raiders,
Cardinals.
Seahawks, Niners, upset Falcons.
All right, that's going to do it for our show.
Manny Machado on Friday tomorrow.
Love it. More Gwynn and Chris tomorrow. Have a good night.